Hello! Today I'm going to do my July TBR, aka the video where I tell you all the books I'm going to read and then completely ignore it, because apparently that's what I do now. So I guess I should start off the video by talking about the books I'm actually currently already in the middle of. It's already a few days into July, so I'm already in the middle of 4 books. So the first one I'm in the middle of is Disappearing Nightly by Laura Resnick. I actually started this last night because it's supposed to go back to the library today. So I need to finish it as soon as possible so I can return it. It's about an actress who is trying to solve supernatural crimes or something like that. It is supernatural mystery. And also, I just want to show you my bookmark real quick. I got these last week and I got a whole bunch of them. They're like Harry Potter chibis and they have little Harry Potter quotes on them. And anytime I see them, I'm going to be buying them from now on because they're amazing and they're so cute. The second one is volume 2 of Courtney Crumrin. It's Courtney Crumrin and the Coven of Mystics. This is by Ted Naifa. I've talked about this in a few other videos. I meant to get to this 2 months ago and then last month, and I'm finally getting to it now. I'd like to finish this series this month, but I am in the middle of the first one, so I can basically guarantee that I'll finish this one at least. So that's good, you know, positives. The third one I may get sort of rolled eyes at, but I really enjoy reading celebrity memoirs. I think it's really interesting to get their side of the story because someone is always telling their story for them, so if they get a chance to tell their story, I think they should. So this one is Down the Rabbit Hole by Holly Madison, who, if you don't know, was the #1 girlfriend of Hugh Hefner way back. I actually bought this on a whim. I was just at Barnes & Noble and this was in the bargain book, so I just picked it up because I had heard about it in the past and I wanted to read it, but I hadn't actually gotten around to it. So it being on sale, I was like, oh, I'll pick it up and I'll read it. And it's pretty interesting so far. It's also interesting because what she thought was going to happen didn't, basically. Basically, she thought when she started doing the show Girls Next Door with the other girlfriends, people would laugh at her and basically think she was a joke. And then when people took it very seriously and started approaching her, asking her questions about her life, she kind of couldn't believe that was the reaction. So yeah, so it's pretty interesting. I'm hoping to finish it soon. The next book I'm in the middle of is My Favorite Thing is Monsters. It finally came off the wait. I finally got it off the wait list from the library. This is really heavy. I can't believe how heavy this is. This is sort of like a diary with drawings. That's sort of the format. I'm not very far in, so I don't really feel comfortable talking about the synopsis because I think it's kind of an amalgamation of quite a bit of things, and I haven't gotten far enough in to really talk about it yet. So hopefully I'll finish it soon and then I'll talk about it in my wrap-up. So those are the books that I'm in the middle of, but now I will talk about the books that I hope to start soon. It is the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter this year, and it's been a long time since I've done a reread, so I'm overdue for a reread of Harry Potter. So I want to reread the entire series, which I already had a box set. I had like the original box set in the Hogwarts trunk, but I try not to, those are first edition, so I try not to read those. I try to keep them in mint condition because they are just really special to me. The fact that they are the original covers and all that kind of stuff, that is really important to me. I want to be able to have those for a long time, so I try not to read those too much. So in order to do my reread, I actually bought this cover set, which is now I guess the old box set because the new box set is just coming out. So the one with the new covers and the 20th anniversary edition covers or whatever. So I will need to buy another set of Harry Potters, I guess. But this is the one that the spines, when all put together, look like Hogwarts, which I love, so I'm so happy to have them. But I plan to read through these at some point this month, probably all in a row. I will probably marathon. It's been so long since I read them, so I was hoping to find someone to buddy read them with me, but everyone keeps telling me they don't have time to read 7 books, which I just don't understand. I mean, if you don't have time to read Harry Potter, you make time. That's what I think. Another book that I would really like to read this month is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I've never read any Brandon Sanderson. I actually have Mistborn on my shelf, which I also want to start, but I do know that this can work as a standalone, so to really dive into Brandon Sanderson for the first time, I want to start with a standalone. I sometimes have a hard time with high fantasy. It's too much exposition and not enough action for me, or not enough dialogue. I like a lot of I prefer dialogue and action over exposition, and a lot of high fantasy, because they have to build a whole new world, is a lot of exposition. I think there are ways around that, but that's a whole different issue. So this is one that I definitely want to dive into this month. I don't know much about this other than it is about gods, I guess. So I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think in this world, if you die in like a glorious way, you come back as a god in the city. But mainly I picked it up partially because it can work as a standalone, and also I went on Brandon Sanderson's site and he has this whole section of his site like, where do I start with your books? And this one was sort of in one of the categories that would work for me in terms of other books that I really like, so the best way to dive into his work. So probably after Harry Potter, I'll try to pick this up. Another book I'd like to get into this month is Once Upon a Dream. It's a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, basically if Sleeping Beauty didn't wake up as planned and the curse wasn't broken. So I love fairy tale retellings in general, but Sleeping Beauty is my favorite fairy tale. It's also my favorite Disney movie, and this is a Disney imprint. So I think it'll probably be a pretty quick read, so I should be able to get to it this month. I've been kind of eyeing it for a while. I like the original cover better than this cover, but I also found this for $4, so here we are. Another book I'd like to read before the end of the month is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. This one is popular on BookTube right now. It's about these two people who meet and end up basically texting and have start a friendship via text. So I like books that use texting within the as part of a main part of the plot line, or even as just like a formatting choice. So I think I really like this. Whenever stories do that, it tends to be it tends to sort of move the story really fast because you feel like you're in a conversation more so than anything else. But at the same time, I've kind of been, every contemporary that I've read recently, most contemporaries that I've been reading recently have been kind of a letdown. So I'm hesitant to read this one right now. Maybe I should wait, I'm not sure. But I do hope to get to it by the end of the month if I can, and if I ever get in the mood for a contemporary like this. The next book I hope to get to is Girl Made of Stars. Books and Lala was saying how much she loved this book, and so I put it on hold at the library, and now I have it. So I would like to read it. It's a story about a girl who, her best friend I think, accuses her brother of rape, and so this is her sort of navigating how to deal with that situation, and I think it sounds like it will be really heavy but really powerful, so I'm looking forward to getting a chance to read this one too. The next one was one that I kind of another one that I kind of picked up on a whim because it looked funny. This is Strange Practice by Vivian Shaw. This is about a descendant of Dr. Helsing. She treats the medical conditions of supernatural creatures. So that sounds like it would just be hilarious. The next three I want to read are all graphic novels or comics. The first one is Lock and Key by Joe Hill. The first volume is called Welcome to Lovecraft. I think there's I think there's a few volumes out. I'm not sure how many volumes are out right now, but I think there are a few volumes. And I guess it's about this house where each room is a different horror. Joe Hill is the son of Stephen King, if you didn't know. He writes horror just like his dad. I've never read anything by Joe Hill, so this will be a new one for me. But it seems like a really interesting concept. And the artwork is kind of halfway between graphic novel and comic, I feel like. I don't know, maybe someone will disagree with me on that one, but the artwork looks really interesting as well. The next graphic novel is Blankets, which is a coming-of-age story that takes place in the Midwest. It's quite hefty. I saw this at Barnes & Noble under Staff Recommends, so I decided to pick it up and give it a try. It's like a black and white graphic novel. It looks almost like pencil sketches or pen sketches maybe. Since it was on the Staff Recommends shelf and I'd never heard of it, I thought I'd give it a try. The last book I really want to get to, I've been waiting for from the library for, it seems like forever. I'm a huge Neil Gaiman fan, and one of the tricky things about being a Neil Gaiman fan is he has written so much. So I've read, I think I've read all his prose, but in terms of graphic novels, I'm still missing quite a bit. So this book is Marvel 1602. Like I said, I've been waiting to read it for quite some time. So this is basically the superheroes as if they were in 1602. So sort of like, I guess, an alternate history sort of thing. And I love Neil Gaiman. I will read basically anything he writes. I really enjoy The Sandman, which I haven't finished yet. That's another one I still need to finish from him. And I was book shopping yesterday, and there was another comic by Neil Gaiman that I didn't even know existed called Lady Justice, so I'll have to add that to my list as well. It's tough when you think of yourself as like a huge fan of someone and then find out there's all this work that you haven't been exposed to, and then you feel like a fake fan. I don't think I'm a fake fan, but I felt like one yesterday. So those are the books that I am hoping to get to this month. Hopefully I can get to them all. I had a pretty good reading month in June, so I have high hopes for July. There's a good chance I will throw out my TBR entirely because I'll see another book that I find interested in, and you know, shinies. But anyway, as always, there are so many books and so little time. So I'm going to go read, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!